What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to take a look at Texas. We're going to take a look at the Senate race between Talarico and Paxton. We have some late polling that just came out, and I want to take a look. We have another poll that is showing Talarico ahead of Paxton. However, it's within that margin of error, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then I also want to take a look at some of the other questions that were asked in this poll. And then we'll move over to the Senate map, and I'll show you why Texas is an important state for Democrats if they want to take back control of the Senate. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into the polling here. So we're looking at 270 to win. Let's look at the average first. So it's up here, it's at the top. And so you see Talarico at 45.5%. You have Paxton at 44.5%. Now they've taken the last four polls here and they averaged it. That's where you're getting that number from. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the latest poll. This was Texas Pulse poll, and this was posted on 6/9/2026. You have a sample size of 807 likely voters. You have the margin of error plus or minus 4%. You have Talarico at 47%. You have Paxton at 44%. And then you have other at 9%. Now, when you're looking at this, you see Talarico at 47, Paxton at 49. This is within that margin of error because the margin of error is plus or minus 4%. Okay, so there is no clear leader. And so I just wanted to mention that. Now, if we go down, we look at Quantis Insights. This was posted on 6/5/2026. 800 likely voters, margin of error there plus or minus 3.5%. Talarico at 43%, Paxton at 45%, other at 12%. This is another poll that's within that margin of error of 3.5%, so there's no clear leader. Looking at the Texas Public Opinion Research, this was posted on 5/29/2026, 1,670 likely voters. You have the margin of error plus or minus 2.8%. You have Talarico at 47%. You have Paxton at 44%. You have other at 9%. And this is yet another poll that falls within that margin of error, so there's no clear leader. So you guys kind of understand. We have this one, 45-45. This is no clear leader there. Then we have this one here. So this poll, the University of Texas poll, this was posted on 4/29/2026, 1,200 registered voters, margin of error there plus or minus 3.4%. This one is outside of the margin of error. So you have Talarico at 42%, you have Paxton at 34%, then you have other here at 24%. Now this was prior to the runoff. So this other here could have been Cornyn. Okay, so that could be the reason why we're seeing that. But looking at this poll, this one does fall outside of the margin of error. So it's showing that Talarico has the lead. Now what I'm also looking at is I'm also looking at patterns here. So you see this pattern here, you see the block of votes here where Paxton was ahead. This was back in earlier this year and part of last year. Now what we're seeing now is we're seeing a block of votes here where Talarico either is tied or has the lead. And then you see this latest poll here where Talarico has the lead. And so what we could be seeing now is we could be seeing a pattern where Talarico is now picking up more steam, and Talarico is now either leading in the polls or he's tied in the polls, and within that margin of error, of course, what we talked about. But the numbers are looking better for Talarico now than they were in the past, and they're looking worse for Paxton now than they were in the past. And so now let's look at some of the other questions that were asked. So they asked a question of favorability, and so Paxton had a favorability of 34%, unfavorable 52%. Now looking at Talarico's favorability. So Talarico's favorables, 39%, unfavorable, 34%. So we're looking here, you see that Talarico's favorables are higher than his unfavorable, which is good. Okay, that's what you want. Now when it comes to Paxton, it's the opposite. His favorables are at 34, his unfavorables are at 52. Okay, so right now Talarico has an advantage there. Generic ballot, this is important. Now we're talking about Texas. We're not talking about the overall generic ballot. We know the overall generic ballot, Democrats are leading, and they've been leading ever since March of 2025. So when we're looking at Texas, the generic ballot is showing 49% for Republicans, 43% for Democrats. And basically, the question that would be asked is, who are you more inclined to vote for in the general election? It's going to be a Republican or is it going to be a Democrat? In Texas, you have more people saying that they're inclined to vote for a Republican. Okay, Texas direction here. Right track, wrong track. So right track, 44%. Wrong direction, 45%. Now, this is very interesting because just looking at what's going on right now with the economy, with gas prices, with the war in Iran, all of the different situations that we're in right now, you still have Texas voters saying that they pretty much feel that we're on the right track, and that's a large number. And so it's a coin flip in this category. It's pretty much 50-50 as far as wrong direction, right direction. So I find that very interesting. Now, when you go to the next question here, the cost of living, is it important? 98%, very important, 86%. Okay, and we know, we talked about this, when it comes to the economy, people are struggling. And this is why Democrats need to make this election about affordability. That's all they should be talking about. You don't need to talk about scandals. You don't need to talk about all the other things that are going on in Texas. What you need to be talking about is affordability. Talarico needs to be out there every day talking about, look, the cost of these items are way too expensive. Gas prices, the war in Iran, all this stuff is causing us to have to pay more. And what I'm seeing Talarico do is he's tying in corruption with the reason why you have to pay more. That could be a good strategy, but you have to focus on the fact that people are paying more, because that is what's going to move people. That's what's going to energize people to get out and vote. You can't just go against Paxton and say, well, Paxton has all these scandals, he's just a bad person. You have to convince the voters that you can do better when it comes to the economy, because that's what the voters are more interested in. They don't really, I mean, they already know that Paxton has has all this baggage. But what you need to do is you need to talk about changing things when it comes to the cost of living, changing things when it comes to the current policies that we're seeing in Washington, D.C. And before we move on, I now have a free newsletter. You can sign up for that newsletter on my Substack. Link is in the description. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at the Senate map. Now, the green color here, these are states that I would consider in play right now. Okay, so Democrats can flip or Republicans can flip these states. And so when we're looking at the map, and the reason why Democrats are focusing a lot of attention, resources, money in Texas, because if Democrats have an opportunity to flip Texas, they have a good opportunity to take back control of the Senate. And so let's go ahead and just play this out. So if we're looking, the first thing that Democrats absolutely need to do is they need to defend 3 states. They need to defend Georgia, they need to defend Michigan, and they need to defend New Hampshire. If they can defend those 3 states, then they'll be on the right track to taking back control of the Senate. Now, when it comes to Michigan, that's going to be a close race. When it comes to New Hampshire, it's also going to be a close race. I think in Georgia now, I think Ossoff is doing the right thing as far as is showing in the polling that he's doing well. And so I don't really see Republicans being able to beat Ossoff in Georgia, but the other 2 states, they're still up there when it comes to Michigan and New Hampshire. And so Democrats need to perform well in these 3 states. Now, if they can defend those 3 states, they need to net 4 states. And that's where North Carolina comes in. I think Democrats have a really good shot at winning in North Carolina. When it comes to Maine, I still think that Maine, there's a good opportunity for Plattner to win in Maine. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I know there's, the latest scandal. We'll have to see if that has any impact. He's had scandals before, and they didn't have that much impact because in the polling after those scandals, Plattner was doing well. He got as high as I think 9 points above Collins. So we'll have to see later down the road. We won't know immediately, but later down the road, I did see one poll that came out and showed him ahead by 2. But I think we need to see a series of polls in order to know, okay, was that an outlier or is that actually where Plattner's going? He's actually losing support. So we'll have to see how that works. But I still think when we're looking at Democrats' best possible pickups, I think Maine would be in there as second. Now, when we move to third, there are 2 states that I think Democrats have a really good shot of picking up. One is Ohio. The other one is Alaska. Okay. The latest polling coming out of Ohio is showing Sherrod Brown, I think, like 8 points ahead, which is, I mean, that's crazy considering that Husted is the incumbent. Now, Husted has never won a Senate race before. He was appointed to the position, but Sherrod Brown is doing really well. He's doing really well in the polls, and we'll have to see if that continues. So Ohio is on the map. When it comes to Alaska, I think Peltola is doing really well. And when we start looking at the latest polling, it's showing that Peltola is also a hit. Now they have ranked choice voting. I did a video all about that, so you can check that video out. And I'll leave a link at the end of this video so you can check it out. So ranked choice voting is a little bit different. So it kind of changes things when it comes to, you could see someone in the polls that's ahead, but because of ranked choice voting, they could still lose, even if they win the first round, but they don't get over 50+1. But right now, I think either Alaska or Ohio, one of those states can go. Let's say it's Alaska. Let's say Peltola wins in Alaska. Now you have Democrats and independents at 50. You have Republicans at 47, but you still have 3 more states. Now, if Republicans win these 3 states, if they win Iowa, they win Ohio, and they win Texas, then guess what? You have Republicans at 50, Democrats and independents at 50. It's a tie. Tie goes to the vice president. And so Republicans would maintain control of the Senate. And so Democrats would still need to win 1 more state. And that's where you have to start looking. As we stated, Ohio is a good pickup for Democrats. Also, Texas could be a good pickup for Democrats. And so if we see Democrats pick up that seat in Texas, now Democrats and independents are at 51, Republicans are at 49, Democrats take back control of the Senate. And so that is why when we're looking at Texas, not only is Texas in play, but if Democrats can win in Texas, they have a really good shot of taking back control of the Senate. So we'll keep following the polls out of Texas. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit that little bell notification. Anytime new polls come out, I'll talk about them. But now I want to hand it off to you. Do you think Texas is a possible pickup for Democrats? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.